Hey, happy Friday to you. Good afternoon. It's Brandon Devnich here from i3D Themes with this week's interactive number 88, where we share what we're passionate about and what we're working on in the i3D Themes Design and Code Labs. I hope you've had a great week. It's been super crazy busy here. So, what have we been working on? In the design lab this week, Colin has had lots of custom jobs, but he's also been working on the Oxygen WordPress theme, which is a derivative of our Oxygen website template. He has spent the last probably 2 months in learning this new framework that he's found called, it's actually not a new framework, it's been around for quite a bit, but it's new to him. It's called Gantry. And Gantry allows for you to build WordPress themes and have different concepts of widgets within it. And so he's been taking the time to build the Oxygen design within the Gantry framework. And so he's been doing the final fine-tuning, and it's now up to me to get it into our system. And I've been busy with a lot of Pegasaas related sort of fine-tunings this week, and so I haven't had a chance to get to the Oxygen WordPress theme demo, so to speak, but that's on my list for next week. So hopefully by the end of next week we should maybe have that close to getting in the catalog, so that'd be pretty exciting. In the code lab this week I've had help from Adam. Our focus really has been in this last couple weeks vetting the Pegasaas plugin for different hosting platforms and different theme frameworks. And so we've tested everything with Divi, with Themify, with Thrive, a number of different WordPress themes, one-off themes, and so for the most part it hums along just fine. Where we end up finding a bottleneck is with different hosting platforms. And so you can imagine there are hundreds, if not thousands, of web hosting providers. Hey, there we go, my screen. That adds a little bit of a backdrop there. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of different web hosting providers. And I'll tell you that they all range in quality. Some of the most popular web hosting providers are some of the worst that we've found out there. And by worst, I mean their customer service may be fantastic, but the environments that the web hosts or the websites are on are extremely slow. And we find that often when you get a website onto a web host, you think, oh, it's just 2 or 3 pages, and then it grows and it grows and grows, and your need to have a faster response also grows as your website becomes more popular. And where maybe $5, $10, $15 for web hosting may have seemed a lot at one time, if that is the if you need your website to generate revenue and income and exposure, $10 or $15 a month is really nothing compared to what you may spend on a billboard or your brick and mortar business, which could be thousands of dollars. And so I'd like to put it out there that $10 or $15 is not very much. You shouldn't need to pay much more in a shared hosting environment where you have pretty good resources available to you. I know of a number of different web hosting providers where the web hosting is fast and the price point is in and around $10 a month. But if you are finding that when you go to your administrative dashboard and it takes 5, 10, 15 seconds to load every time that you click and do something, it can mean a couple things. It can mean you maybe have too many plugins installed, and so if you have lots of plugins installed, maybe see if there's some that you don't need anymore. Or your web hosting environment is not suitable for the number of plugins and the platform that you have. So it may be time to migrate. You can ask your web hosting provider if they have a better package available to you. But if you're finding that it takes longer than 5 seconds for your administrative panel to load up, what's going to happen is when you go to optimize the rest of your web pages, as far as all the things that are involved with web optimization performance, website performance optimization, I should say, it's going to either take too long or it just won't be possible. So if you have an administrative area that takes 3 to 5 seconds, you're probably just right in the sweet spot there. If it takes longer than that, you may want to investigate to see whether or not your web host can provide faster hosting. So we've been doing our vetting for different hosting platforms this week. SiteGround, Kinsta, GoDaddy, WP Engine. Those are just a few, just to mention some names out there. And for the most part, it runs just fantastic. We're finding a lot of these different platforms that maybe pack a lot of websites onto a single server. They make the websites appear to load fast by having a caching plugin, which automatically caches your pages on the front end. And so in order for Pegasaas to operate correctly, it needs to communicate with that caching plugin. So we've been doing that for a number of different platforms already. I think we've probably vetted somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 15 different caching plugins and different hosting environments. And so we're going to continue doing that as we move forward as well. We've also been vetting the different theme frameworks such as Thrive and Themify and Divi and a number of other frameworks as well, just to see how the Pegasaas plugin itself interacts. And for the most part, it's fantastic. We also began work this week on the HTTP2 Push mechanism. So HTTP2 is a protocol. It's what is used to communicate between your web browser and the web server. It goes hand in hand with SSL and TLS. If you've ever heard of those sort of things. You probably have heard of SSL. It's what makes web pages secured. Well, HTTP2 is the newest of the protocols, and it allows for certain mechanisms to allow for the pushing, if that's a term, the push of resources such as images and CSS and JavaScript to the web browser faster. And so we're investigating that. We're sort of in the research stage. We started the development on this week as well. But already we're learning a couple new sort of tricks that we weren't aware of before that we're probably going to be implementing in this next week. And that's at the end of next week. We're going to be taking a step back from development for probably about 5 weeks. I wanted to have a sort of a buffer between, I'm going to say next Friday until I go away on vacation for 2 weeks. So that we can just sort of let things settle without introducing any new surprises into the system, because that sometimes happens. And then for the 2 weeks that I'm away in the middle of June, hopefully everything will be calm. Although if it isn't, Adam will be here to sort of field any troubleshooting that needs to happen while I'm away and hold the fort until I get back. And that's pretty much what's been keeping us busy here at i3D Themes this week. Lots. Basically just Pegasaas and Oxygen. So yeah, hope you've had a fantastic week. I know that we have. Hope you have a great weekend ahead, and we'll talk to you again next week. All right, bye-bye.